Hello and welcome to this evening's episode of the Psychic Inside Show. My name is Joelle and I am the Viberarian, and I am so happy that you are joining me on tonight's show. The Psychic Inside Show exists because I believe that everyone is psychic. You just may not recognize it. So I have decided to bring on people to share the stories about their journey into discovering their psychic gifts and abilities. And I love it because every week I get to talk to people from all over that have such interesting and fascinating stories to tell, and I get to get curious, a little bit nosy, dig into what their life has been like, and then share it with all of you, my listeners. I do have a community of people gathered. I like to call them the Good Vibe Tribe, and that is on Facebook. So you can join. The page is The Viberarian, and that is V as in vibration, I-B-E as in energy, Rarian. And on Facebook, I'm always sharing positive and uplifting information that I hope you will find helpful. You can find ways to connect with all the people who are working on all of the shows and at the events that are happening around the Atlanta area, and then just basically have a good time talking with like-minded people. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter with the same @TheViberarian handle, and so I invite you to connect with me there. Our show line tonight is 646-668-8988. You can call in during this show, and if you wish to ask a question of the guest, you can press 1 at any time, and my screener will reach out to you to get a little bit of background information about your question, and then we will get you on the show as soon as possible. Now, tonight, I'm super excited because my special guest is a dear friend of mine. I want to introduce you all and welcome to the show this evening, Clairvoyant Marcus Howell. Marcus, how are you? Welcome.
Hey, Joelle. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm really excited to have you on the show this evening. I just want to give our listening audience a little bit of background about what I know of you. And I have a very personal connection because the first time I met you, a mutual friend of mine from college who's like a brother to me told me I absolutely had to meet you. He was insistent that I have a meeting with you, and he arranged for us to have lunch. And what he told me was that one of our friends who had passed away in her late 20s had come through. And I said, what do you mean come through? He said he was able to connect with her. She came through, and she talked to him, and she talked to me through him. I was like, what? You know, I'd always heard and seen incidents where people would see, like on Long Island Medium and Sylvia Brown back in the day, but I had never had my own verifiable experience in the realm of mediumship. And I had plenty of psychic readings, but I had never had interaction with an actual person who used to be living that was now deceased. And we were sitting up at No Mouse Cantina in Atlanta, and immediately as you started talking, I felt this cold breeze swept across my body, and right about that time you said, oh, Cope is here. And you proceeded to then blow my mind for like the next 2 hours. I'm pretty sure they were ready for us to leave because we had been sitting there so long. But I literally was glued to my seat because I knew that I was communicating with my friend at a very deep and truthful level that no one at this point could explain to me otherwise, that was not what I was experiencing. So it really kicked open a door for me in a very big way, and so I owe that avenue to you. So that's why I'm so excited to continue to speak with you. And as you know, I've referred clients to you over the years, and hopefully we'll get into a little bit of that later. But I also wanted to tell our listeners that you have a book out. It's called Clairvoyant, My Definition, My Story. And this is available on Amazon. It's selling quite well, and you've already finished one national book tour. And I believe that from what I've heard, rumors that there will be a book forthcoming and a second book tour. So I would definitely encourage everyone to get on Amazon and pick up a copy of that book because you know, your story is quite fascinating. So to begin with,
thank you. Thank you.
have you always known that you were psychic?
Absolutely not. And I think a lot of people will be surprised to hear that. I'm actually, well, first let me say, Joelle, thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to coming by the Cup Sunday and you know, your elevation station and everything. I've met some really great people through you. But back to you, I really have seen a lot of love and support from you. And then you've seen, you know, you experienced some of this stuff the way I have. And I just want to say thank you. What you're doing and reaching out to people and surrounding people with like-minded folks, I think that's the best thing that anyone can do. So because of your spirit, and, you know, you happen to be a Libra, which happens to be the best sign on the planet, you know, I think we're just so fully connected, and I just want to say thank you. But to answer your question, yes, I was a skeptic, and I didn't find out I was clairvoyant until maybe like 6-7 years ago. And most of my life growing up, I experienced a lot of things that I didn't understand. And it wasn't until my aunt, who's also clairvoyant, she lives in London, pulled me aside and said, you know, I had told her I wanted to speak with her about something, and she kind of knew what I was coming to talk to her about prior to me even opening my mouth, you know. And she shocked me, you know, and I just didn't know. I figured I was strange and weird, and, you know, I experienced a lot of deja vu and a lot of things growing up, but I just couldn't explain it. And even communicated with people that had crossed over, you know, before I knew that I had a gift. So it wasn't until, I think, my mid-30s when some friends, just like, I don't think he minds us saying his name, Antavius, you know, put us together, and he was one of the first people I shared the gift with, you know, besides people in my family. And so what he would do, because to him it was fascinating, he would take me around and test me. And like put me in the car and be like, okay, which way do I go? And I'm saying, okay, make a right here, make a left right here. And I would just tell them what I got. I was, you know, hitting bullseyes so often. I said, well, maybe this is something real and something serious. You know, but I was still a skeptic. I didn't want to take any psychic development classes. I didn't like the word psychic. You know, now I'm okay with it because it's just a label. You know, people have gifts, and rather you grew up Christian like I did, and I'm not a minister, I'm not a pastor, but, you know, I called my first book Clairvoyant, My Definition, My Story, because that to me was the best way to explain it, you know. And then I, you know, got into a few debates with some Christians and then other people. And I really hate, like, when certain people in social media say stuff like, oh, that's sorcery or that's witchcraft or that's negative or something. I'm like, you know, first of all, you don't even know what you're talking about, you know. And with me personally, the more I went to church and the more I built my own relationship with God, the stronger my gift got. So that to me confirmed that what I was doing was the right thing. You know, so I kept at it. But I was a skeptic. I did not know or believe in my early days that I was clairvoyant anything. I thought I was just weird.
So how would you describe then your, you know, the word psychic is very generic, and what I'm finding as you talk to individuals, everybody uses words differently. So how would you describe your gifts? What is it that you can do?
Well, the way I best describe it is this. Everyone has gifts, and I believe it all depends on how you receive the gift and how you translate it. That makes us all different. So going to see one person, they might call themselves a sensitive or a spiritualist or a psychic, or I call myself clairvoyant most of the time. You know, some people call themselves medium. Some people everybody has different names. But to me, it basically boils down to 4 different things. You can receive messages through pictures and images in your mind, and that to me is clairvoyant, which is the main way that I receive my messages. You can hear things other people do not hear. That's clairaudience. You can feel things and experience certain feelings or traumas or things, and, you know, that's usually clairsentient. And then sometimes you smell or taste things that other people don't smell or taste, and that's clairgustance. And so a lot of times, depending on how you receive your messages and how you translate them, I've been told I was all 4. I don't think clairaudience is my strongest suit, but clairvoyant is really my strongest, and clairsensitive. So a lot of times when I'm getting messages or feeling things, I'm either seeing it in my head or I'm feeling it like in my chest, and it tells me what to say to the person I'm doing a reading with.
Well, you mentioned that you didn't really want to call yourself a psychic, and you're kind of resistant, and even talking about going on to further education about what this was. I know that you went to a school because you actually referred me to that school, and I took the class that you spoke about.
Yep.
And I was very, very enlarged by my experience with them. So would you share a little bit about when you went to this development or any others that you've done since you kind of come into your knowing about this aspect of yourself?
Yeah. Actually, I was tricked into it. You'd be surprised. I was tricked into it. I read a couple of books, and one of the books that I did read was by a psychic in Minnesota. Her name's Echo Bodine.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a class that she teaches called Psychic Development, and it's an online course. And there was another lady who taught the class with her. I became pretty good friends with, and I figured at first, I'm not going to pay for this. I'm not signing up for that. It's a waste of money. I was still a skeptic, And so some friends of mine all had a good conversation with another friend of mine, Aisha, and so she basically said, well, let's do this for him, and we're going to sign him up. And so they signed me up for the class and then told me, okay, well, your class starts Sunday, and this was like Friday. And I'm like, what do you mean my class? And your online psychic development class. And I was like, what are you talking about? You crazy. I'm not signing up taking no psychic class. Like, that's stupid. I just thought everything negative or this is just a waste of time, waste of money. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to invest in it. I'm not trying to do anything. And I just kept saying no. So basically I was tricked into it, and I signed up for the class. I started the class that Sunday, and it was a 6-week program. By the time that course ended, I was so hooked and so excited and excited about the show. I loved it. I mean, the class was great, and I thought it was just, like, really, really wonderful. And I learned so much. It was, like, probably 16 people from all over the world in the course. Mm-hmm. And I was told that they gave you a lot of support and everything, and told me how well I did, and at first I was thinking, okay, well, they're just saying this because they want me to, sign up for the second class. But by the time the class ended, I really learned a lot, and I learned how to use the gift and how to open up, how to meditate, and everything. And everything was great. Yeah.
I mean, I am a big advocate of learning for learning's sake. Even if you don't necessarily want to see yourself using something, who doesn't want to go to a cooking class from time to time, or, some other kind of class? It's all to edify yourself and expand your knowledge. So if you can learn something, I believe that everyone can benefit from taking, if not an intensive 6-week class, maybe even just a workshop, because what I found is that most of us are receiving intuitive guidance, but we don't have a label for it, or we doubt or second guess or bring back into our thought process what we have received from an intuitive guidance system. And just to learn to trust yourself. A lot of the exercises that we did in that classes, were about, like you said, you're driving around the Antavius, and you're like, wow, I'm right more than I am wrong. And you learn to start to trust and allow that conversation to come more strongly. And from what I understand, you might actually be offering some psychic development classes in the future. Is that still in your kind of realm of bringing that forth at some point for people?
Yeah. Yes, it is. I don't mind showing or teaching anything that I know to anyone. And so I always thought of, giving back and just as it was fascinating to me. I was soaking everything up like a sponge. I couldn't get anything inside my brain fast enough. and I was running around and all that stuff. My aunt, I call her Aunt JJ. Her name is Johnny, but you know, Johnny May. But I was wearing JJ's phone out, and this is international, you know, until finally I calmed down, and she was like, well, let's Skype. You know, Skype is free. And we started Skyping and stuff, but I was in her inbox every day with questions and this, that, and the other. But I liked the way she handled me, I guess because she knew me, you know. And she said, give yourself a year to learn everything you need to learn, teach yourself everything you need to teach, and learn what you're getting into, because you want to make sure that you're grounded, that you're protected, and that you're not welcoming anything in that you don't want, and learn what you're doing. And she said, it's going to make you a better person. And she said, I see you as a true clairvoyant. And my gift started to develop so much where I was saying things and people were coming back to me and were like, man, you said this, and it came out exactly like you said. And sometimes I didn't even believe them. I was just like, oh, okay, sure, you know. But it was coming back more times, like probably 90-95% of the time, things were coming back pretty accurate. People were calling me to find out what baby they were going to have, a boy or a girl. I was like, okay. I thought that was so weird. You know, it was pretty interesting. It was fun. It took me a long time to do readings and get comfortable with it, and then I got bombarded by folks from every different direction. I've been approached about doing TV shows and stuff like that. And so, you know, outside of doing readings, I work in real estate. So, you know, I was trying to get real estate stuff done, and then I was being called to do this and do readings and interview for this TV show and this, that, and the other. So it became a monster really fast once my reputation started spreading around, you know. And that's what made me the first book and the first tour. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If somebody gets you to help them find a house, do they get to use some of your psychic abilities to make sure this is the right space for them, or is that pretty much a traditional transaction? Because that could be kind of helpful.
you know, that's happened maybe once or twice when someone said, you know, do you see me getting this house? And I was like, well, that's weird because I've never been asked that before about real estate. You know, I'm like, well, I hope so. If things go the way they're supposed to, you know. And that was just one particular client because, you know, she and I talk all the time. We do a lot of readings, right. You know, and that's why it came up when it did. So it was kind of surprising. But I have had experiences where I went to go view a house, and for some reason I couldn't walk inside. I just felt such a negative energy, or, you know, I don't know if it was a murder or something happened, but I could not physically walk into the house. I had to stand outside. And it was just like, okay, well, you want to see the house? Go ahead. I'll open the door for you, but I'm not going in there, you know. And then, of course, that made them say, well, I'm not going in either, you know. Are you crazy?
I'm saying you don't have to push me in the door. I'm going where you go, buddy.
Right.
I mean, if you head for the exit, I'm headed for the exit. Because if you can't handle it, I know I can't handle it.
Yeah, and it's rare. Can I tell a quick story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, before I got into real estate, I used to drive 18-wheelers, and I worked for this company in Norcross. And when I was doing this, there was a stop they used to send me to pick up all the time. And this was about maybe 8 months to a year before I knew I had a gift. And I went to this one stop to pick up some freight, and I get there, and there's another guy who worked for another company that was leaving. And so the guy who worked at the warehouse who knew us both, he introduced us, and I said, okay, hey, nice to meet you. And the guy shook my hand, and he looked me in the eyes, and then he walked out and left. And I automatically got sick to my stomach, and I felt like I wanted to throw up. It just came over me really quick and really fast. And in my mind, I kept seeing pictures of blood and blood, more blood, and blood and blood, and I got so sick. And this guy who worked there had this big, huge child. And I had a child back then, too, big white child. And so his dog was bigger than my dog, a huge dog. It looks really mean, but it was a friendly dog. And he said when the guy was there, the dog normally speaks to people. The dog went underneath the desk and started growling at him. And I said, that's weird, because I said when I shook his hand and met him, I said I felt really sick to my stomach, and I don't know what that was about. A week later, I go by the store, and the guy says, I'm going to tell you something, and I don't know if you're ready for this. He said, you know, that guy was arrested a couple of days ago and he was charged with murder.
Oh.
And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, the guy killed somebody, and I guess he tried to chop the body up and into different pieces,
wow.
And it was on the news and everything. And I just could not believe it. And for some reason, his energy, me and the dog both knew that something wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess
Mm-hmm.
the dog, dogs they have such a good sense of everything. He probably smelled the blood on him or something. I don't know. But I kept seeing blood, and I kept feeling sick to my stomach, and I was just like, something's not right with that guy. And that's what it was.
You know, that is so creepy. But honestly, a lot of us, we will get, maybe they're not as strong and as clear as what you describe at first. But we've all had experiences where somebody comes in the room and we're just like, you know what? I'm not feeling their energy. They shift, or you feel there's something dishonest or negativity for no reason. And most of us will say, well, dang, why do I feel like that? I shouldn't be thinking that about that person. I don't know them from Jack. But that could be part of your internal guidance system trying to nudge you and to say, there's something that you need to be aware of beyond the normal five senses in terms of dealing with this person. And I absolutely have learned, Libras, we tend to be a little bit more sensitive anyway because we're always balancing people's energy. But empathic signs, like water signs, they tend to be really sensitive to people's energy. But some of us are oblivious, and we chalk it up to just, well, I just didn't like their look. I didn't like the way they had their face, but it's a little deeper than that. We have to at least honor that. We don't have to be disrespectful to people, but we certainly can carry ourselves with caution and awareness based on information that we're receiving from ourselves and from our higher self. So this is the Psychic Inside Show, and I'm your host, Joelle the Viberarian. I'm having a wonderful conversation with Clairvoyant Marcus Howell. Our phone number is 646-668-8988. You can call in. We do have a full bank of callers this evening. You can also be able to catch the rebroadcast on the Viberarian Radio Network on Blog Talk Radio. You can also find this uploaded to iTunes. If you are an Apple user, you can subscribe to have the episodes automatically delivered to your device, your phone or your, I don't know what they use now in terms of little musical devices in that world, but you can definitely subscribe and get it pushed out to you so that you don't have to go every week to listen. And, of course, they also end up on my YouTube channel. You can search for The Viberary, Viberary, on YouTube. I don't have a custom URL yet because I don't have enough subscribers, so if you would take a listen, like, and subscribe, I'll get up to the threshold so I can go ahead and claim my real estate in the YouTube land. But, Marcus, you mentioned earlier this evening that your auntie was working with you, and I know that there is a family connection sometimes to psychic abilities, but I also wanted to let you know that you have a lot of people on the air this evening from the 313 area code, which I believe is your hometown representing. Detroit is deep on the line tonight, and I would be very... I would be very remiss if I did not pay respects to your grandmother who is listening on the line. I just brought her on the air. Thank you so much for calling in to listen this evening.
Is she there?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi
Welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. Marcus speaks so highly of you, and he let me know to keep a lookout for you that you might be calling this evening. So I definitely wanted to bring you on the air.
Yes, it's a blessing. I'm so proud of him.
I'm cheesing from ear to ear, right?
Yeah. But I remember when he was a little bow-legged boy, a bad boy.
I don't think everybody needed to know that, Grandma, but thank you.
You know it now. You made up for the bad time. You're all right now. You're all man now.
We all get an opportunity to do that, thankfully. Lord, if we were paid penance on our childhood, all of us would be on permanent timeout, I think.
And you speak about gifts in the family, and my grandmother is the one that I tend to call whenever I get a dream that I don't understand or something I need a prayer about. That's the lady I call right there. And some people ask me about dreams. I'm like, you called the wrong person. I said, right family, wrong gift. That's not my gift. That's her gift, you know. And there are other folks in the family as well that have different gifts. And my grandmother has always been the matriarch and the one who everybody comes to for that knowledge, wisdom, and strength. So, you know, I love you. Sorry, my house phone ringing.
Well, I thank you for listening in this evening. I'm going to put you back on the listening line. If you want to come back on and say anything else, just press the 1 key and I'll get you back on directly. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, love. Okay.
All right, don't hang up, Grandma.
I put her back on the listening line so she won't be disconnected. But you've got a lot of 313s on the queue here listening in, so shout out to Detroit and to your family. And, you know, they say that psychic gifts run in families, so when it is strong in a family, it will be continuously re-strengthened as the generations go. And I think partly that is because you are in an environment that does not make you suppress it. You know, if your auntie and your grandmother and people are having these kind of experiences and they're not frightened by it, if they're receiving and can then provide guidance, then you have a fostering, nurturing environment. And some people don't get that. They when they start to see things as a child, they're told they have overactive imagination. They are, squashed. They learn to be quiet. They squash down the visions that they receive or the journeying that they're doing into the spirit realm because they're told that it's just childish imagination, or they're in a religiously structured environment that does not have room for that, and so they are told that this is a bad gift, that it's wrong, and they also then learn to suppress it and feel guilty for having these kind of innate abilities. So I have your Aunt Tracy is also joining us this evening, and so Aunt Tracy, I've got you on the line. Hello this evening.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for calling.
No problem.
Are you also psychically gifted in this family?
Not at all, not one bit. That I know of, anyway.
I find it hard to believe. It seems to be strong with you.
It may be there somewhere. I just haven't tapped into it yet there.
Yeah, I developed pretty late myself, so you never know. And Tracy's actually my aunt. She's actually my aunt, but she's younger than I am, so I'm like nephew, little brother, nephew, big brother, and so it's weird that, you know, I came into my gift so late. So you never know. You give her a couple more, you know, years, and I'll work on her.
Okay. Well, Tracy, thank you for calling in this evening. I'm going to have you back on the listen line, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, Marcus, of course, it would not be complete without having your mother join us on the line as well.
What's going on?
Hi,
boy.
babe.
Hey, Mama.
Hi.
Now, my mother is gifted.
Well, I think that's probably why you're so nourished. Would you say that it was something that you and your sisters had common conversations, that you weren't shocked when Marcus started exhibiting, you know, these signs of having abilities?
No, I wasn't shocked at all. No, because he was the type of child that he didn't want to be outside playing with other kids. He liked to be to himself, doing things like drawing or drawing comic figures and things like that. So he was always like off to himself in his own little world, you know. And I knew it was a reason for that.
Mhm.
It was like,
well, it has
like developing something, you know.
Mhm.
So, and he come and as he grew up, he became like a jack of all trades. He got into everything, you know, all kind of different careers and doing so many things. So I knew that he would find his niche, and this is his niche. Mhm.
Wow,
well, it has to make
Detroit is going crazy tonight.
Yeah, it has to make for interesting family reunions in your family. To be sitting around with a group of psychic people.
You just don't know.
When he had his first book signing here, man, he came here and had the book signing. Man, it was awesome. It was like he had it down on I can't remember the street, but it was at a little.
It was on Michigan.
It was on Michigan, but the place he had it at, it was like, I think that bar has never had that many people in it. It was awesome. It was cars everywhere.
That's wonderful. He's a hometown hero, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's like an everyday person who's doing extraordinary things and keeping it real. You know what I mean? He's the same Marcus that he was, even despite signing autographs and things. You know, I don't know what your little childhood nickname is, but
and he took a picture with everyone there that night. Everybody took a picture with him.
That was the everyone signing too. That was the most fun. It was so interesting. And then right in the middle of my speech, my grandmother's husband was like my dad growing up, so he decided to come tap me on the shoulder as I'm trying to talk to everyone in the audience. And then you know how it is when you're trying to talk and you got the lump in your throat and you can't get a word up and you're choking and all this stuff. And, man, it was just so deep. But it was so much love there, and I got so much support. I can't wait till we book the Detroit date so I can start, you know, telling everyone, here I come, and we can have another book signing day, because that was so much fun. It was literally too much fun. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pitch.
My chest was sticking out so far, man. I think I was blocking everybody else.
I love it. I'm so glad that you are calling and listening in this evening. I am going to put you on the listen line to continue the conversation.
Okay.
But thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, when it comes down to it, Marcus, one of the things that I felt was a really strong message from your book is that you're very connected to your faith in God. And a lot of times people think that the two things are not compatible with each other for some reason. Yeah. And, you know, your continuous message is like, these are my God-given abilities. And when I am delving up and down in the spiritual realm, I'm talking with God, I'm talking with Jesus, you're very connected with angels and energy. And I thought that was really important for you to get out as your message, so I appreciated that. And I think I've given away all the copies of the book that I've ever received from you to people who I thought their eyes would be open a little bit by your story. Have you been challenged as a Christian psychic by even other psychics or people? What is the usual kind of challenge that you get from that?
Wow, that's a very deep question. Okay, I'm going to step on some toes here, but we're all grown, as you said earlier. You know, usually my biggest debates and conversations are from Christians, and it's sad that that's the case, but that's the case. And I grew up Christian myself. I went to church every Sunday. I sang in the choir. I did everything, you know, and you know, I didn't expect to get a lot of support because of this from the church, basically, and I didn't really. You know, there are people that say, "Oh, I love you so much," and then you say, "Oh, I'm clairvoyant," and they say, "What?" and and it turns into a whole nother subject, you know. And then some people even say, like, "But you're a Christian, right?" And I'm like, "Yep, still a Christian. It hadn't changed," you know. So it depends on who you're speaking with. I'm good friends with ministers, and one of my really, really good friend. She's like a big sister to me. I sing with her sometimes, and we used to sing together at my old church, and different shows she's done. I asked her, I beg, like, can I please sing background for you? You know, she's a minister, and she actually worked with me on the first book, and was, you know, because I wanted to quote some things from the Bible. I also have a cousin who's the same age as me, who's a minister in Michigan, and I mean, it was weird because, and I don't, like I said, I don't want to step on any toes. I'm just saying my experience, but my cousin, who's a minister in Michigan, he basically sat me down and went through the Bible and was showing me scriptures to back up what I'm doing. He said, you know, whenever God passes a gift to someone, and he does it quite often, you know, that gift is to bless someone else. And you just don't know what type of closure you can bring to someone in peace. You know, someone could lose someone in family, and for you to know certain things that you're not supposed to know, he said that doesn't come from nobody but God, you know. So he was like, you know, don't be afraid of that. And here are the scriptures to back up what I'm telling you, you know. And then there are, I think it's just a person, it depends on who you're talking to, because there are pastors and ministers I spoke with that believe in the gift. There are some people I've done readings for, and the first thing they ask me, do you believe in God? I'm like, absolutely, do you? You know? And then, you know, they have to hear that before they agree to do a reading, because when you think psychic, you know, and like I said, I grew up a skeptic myself. I didn't believe in somebody telling me, and I've been to a couple of psychics growing up, and I mean, they were just telling me what I thought, you know, I felt like they just thought I wanted to hear, and it was so far off base, and nothing was right, nothing was accurate. I didn't feel it, you know. And it was one lady in Michigan. I went home one weekend and hung out with some friends from high school. I went to Chadsey High in Detroit, and a good friend of mine up there, Rhonda, said, let's stop by this coffee shop. There's a lady in here giving psychic readings. And I was like, what? Like, no, I'm not doing that. And in my mind, I was already built up because I had seen people before to just say, no, it's not true, it's not going to work, this is phony, I'm not doing that. And she said, well, we're all going to do it. It's only $5 extra if you buy some coffee. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll try it. This woman blew my freaking mind. And everything she said was so on point. And, I mean, from the moment I walked up, she shook my hand, and she refused to let my hand go. She kept holding on to my hand. And the more she held on to my hand, the more she talked. And everything she said was such a bullseye and so spot on. It freaked me out. And lastly, before I got up to leave the table, I said, well, she didn't talk about me or my gifts. So I was like, well, can you tell me anything about myself and, you know, as far as doing like what you do? And she said, oh, honey. And she's like, you just got to wait another year or so. She said, you're phenomenal. And she's like, but you're not expecting that. And she said, your biggest enemy is yourself. And she was like, stop letting people at your church, you know, talk you out of it. And I was like, wow, that was so spot on, because that's what I was getting. And I started surrounding myself with like-minded people, and the gift became stronger. I think within the last probably 4 to 5 years, I've skyrocketed to a level where I surprise myself sometimes. Yeah, it's deep.
Well, one of the things about bringing community together to fellowship, you know, people in church do it. We come together to rub elbows where 2 or 3 are gathered. You're with like-minded people, and the same holds true in the metaphysical and esoteric community. And so there are lots of ways that people are using their psychic gifts, and not everything is going to resonate with everybody. So, you know, being able to align yourself naturally with people who are talking the same kind of talk that you're talking, and who are having the same kind of expression of their gifts, meaning that it's of loving light and energy. And, you know, that is so important, and it kind of naturally happens as we start to filter out and emerge into who it is we're going to be. And that's not just in the psychic life, that's any life. If you like bowling you're going to start to be around people who like bowling, who understand what a straight, split, square, whatever that stuff is. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But
yeah.
I do have a caller who wants to come on. I'm going to surprise you and not even let you know who it is because he's calling all the way from way up in the north to speak with you this evening. Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Well, hello there, Mr. Marcus.
Oh, well, hello. You said way up north. This is
Mr. Tony from Staten Island. We're calling
from New York.
To support you. I have a few people here.
Oh, great. Well, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Hi, Marcus.
What's up, D? Wow, that sounds like a party for real.
That
was Cynthia.
That was Cynthia. Oh, tell Cynthia I said hey.
Hey, how are you?
She can hear you.
Great.
And I wanted other listeners to know that I read your book and I was really inspired by your book.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Very
wow.
Well, thank you for calling in. I'm going to put you back on the listening line for the rest of the show, and we'll check back in and see if you have anything else later with any questions. But I keep telling you all, Marcus is just a lovable guy. I don't know anybody that would be like, oh, that Marcus, he's such a jerk. I've never heard anybody say that. As soon as you say their name, they're like, oh, I love him. I met him one time, and he was so sweet. He was so great, So I am just so excited to see the support that you're having in the community from your family and extended family this evening. This is the Psychic Inside Show, and I'm Joelle the Viberarian, and I'm here with Clairvoyant Marcus Howell, who is telling us about his life story and journey into discovering his gifts and psychic abilities. Definitely click on over to our Facebook page at the Viberarian community. You can look for me, and also you can look for Clairvoyant Marcus Howell and take a listen at his community. Join up with the people there so you can stay abreast of his announcements as to where his appearances are and his book tour schedule and places where he'll be doing book signings locally, as well as events where he provides readings and other services. You can get all of his contact information through that Facebook page. There's a really rapid messaging system. I've tested it myself. I think I sent you a message, and within 2 minutes you're replying back. So I know within 24 hours when people reach out to you, you will give them a response back as far as where they can catch up with you or how to schedule an appointment with you.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned, Marcus, about your uncle pastor talking with you about how you were being a healer. That is one point that I really wanted to bring up about stuff. Most of the people I've met are not out picking numbers and picking horse races and betting or using this gift and ability to leverage themselves financially. And I'm not saying that there are not some people who do that, but most of the ones that I'm meeting are not about that. You all are really offering services to people, and if anybody's ever seen the show Long Island Medium with Teresa Caputo, she's just hilarious. Mm-hmm. I love her to death. But most of the time when she gets done doing a reading, there is an emotional response from the person where they really release grief or pain or something that has been pent up so much inside of them that it takes them to a place of peace. And so this is not something that is lightly done energetically. Can you talk about the process of when you do a reading with someone where mediumship, which is where a person who has passed on to the other side, comes in? What is that experience like for you?
Well, for me, it's really interesting because when I first started doing readings, I did nothing but medium type of work, and I didn't realize it. I didn't know that that's what it was. It wasn't until I started talking to more and more people and discovering that, people would get back to me and say, oh, you said this and this and this, and it happened just like you said. And I was seeing stuff that hadn't even happened yet. I see a lot of future-based things. And when it comes to being a medium, for me, there's a connection I have. A lot of times I'll do a little more meditation before a reading if I feel like this is going to be one of those type of readings. And it basically starts off with me trying to connect. Whenever I start a reading with someone, I ask them their name. I don't want the government name. I want the name they go by and the answer to that everyone calls them. And names are how I tune into a person. So, you know, a lot of times if I ask someone their name and they don't want to tell me, you know, I might take a few sips or something and get a little more courage, and then I can still do the reading. But, you know, once I tune into them, and I've had people who lost someone want to talk about that person, I don't know how to explain it all the way to make it make sense, but the best way I can explain it is that I start feeling things. I start seeing things in my head, and I'll start communicating that to the people I'm talking to. And a lot of times it's what needs to be said that brings comfort to the person I'm speaking with. And in my next book, there's going to be a very, very deep chapter in that book, and I don't want to say the title of the chapter, but it's very, very deep. One of my most powerful readings happened about 2 years ago. And it was powerful to the point where, like, that I get this charge of energy that flows from my head to my fingertips when I'm doing readings. It feels like electricity, and I don't know what else to call it. But I was so burnt out and tired and sleepy and everything. By the time I left this lady's house, I had really used a lot of energy. But it was such a good reading. I think I was supposed to be there an hour. I was there an hour and like 40 minutes. And to me, it felt like 10 minutes. You know, it was just really, really deep. And sometimes when I'm doing these readings and that flow of energy, it comes from the back of my head down to my fingertips. And so what I started doing, just as I don't know if it was a feeling, a gut feeling or something told me to do it, but I would take my fingertips and put it around someone that was in pain. And if I put it around their shoulder, their head, migraines, or whatever it was, toothaches, and I would concentrate, I could send that energy into that person through my fingertips. And so people were coming back to me and saying, oh, you know, I wore a brace on my hand for 6 months, and I don't know what you did, but now my wrist is healed. And I had this really bad toothache, and I was in pain and crying, and I don't know what you did, but you stopped it. It just opened up and stopped. And usually it's like within seconds. And I mean, that's not me. I know it's not me. You know, I can't do nothing like that. You know, that's crazy for me to even think it. So I have to say to myself, okay, well, if a reading gets really deep and I'm connecting with people on the other side and I'm doing healing work and stuff like that, I just expect to be wore out and tired afterwards. But that to me is what I'm used to. You know, that's why I don't schedule a lot of readings in 1 week. And I try to do like maybe 4 to 6 a week, and if that, you know, I try to cut down and make it as minimal as possible because I don't want too many. Because if some of them get really deep and they're draining, then I have to give myself time to sleep because I don't normally sleep. I don't know if this is something that other psychics or clairvoyants deal with or mediums, but I probably sleep on the average 4 to 5 hours a night, and I could lay in the bed and be dog tired, and a car could drive down the street. And I'm up for 3 hours and pissed off, you know, with no explanation why, you know, and I'm just wide awake and I just don't sleep. And so when I get a chance to sleep, I enjoy my sleep, you know. But that's the energy that comes from you. You're drained and you're pulled and you're healing and you're helping people. So it tends to physically kind of like wear out on you.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're doing, I'm sure a surgeon who does like a 6-hour surgery probably feels a similar kind of energetic backlash to the intensity and focus that they're doing to do their craft. I mean, any of us would let me sit down at the computer and go to writing some lengthy memo or project proposal. When I get done, I'm tired too, you know, so this is energy work. You are putting and you're allowing yourself to be a conduit for something so much larger than yourself, you know what I mean, and to be willing to be open to that, for one, of course, I feel it's kind of like an honored profession to be able to touch people at the most intimate of areas, that which is not presented in the 3D sense. It's in the 4D, 5D, and spiritual realm. And people are allowing you to come into that energy with them, and then they're entrusting you that you have ethics and morals and are returning to them the right and proper thing that is meant for them in that time. You know, a lot of people are uncomfortable with that. It's a step too far for them to allow people into that, especially if they're dealing with grief and things of that nature. Now, I have one of your other family members on who has a comment about where we are. Hello, this is an auntie, correct?
Yes, hi.
Hi,
Uh-oh.
welcome.
Hi, Marcus. This is your auntie, Wanra.
How are you?
I want to congratulate you on all your success. And I wanted to let you guys know I've been listening to the whole show, and there's just so much energy here. 2 of my phones, the battery died. My cell phone, the battery died, and the power kept going off in our house. And I said, nothing's going to stop me from calling in tonight. That I have to call and let everyone know how outstanding Marcus is.
Awesome.
So please call in and get a reading from him.
Aw. Thank you so much. Now, while she's giving me my accolades and my flowers to smell them, I'm going to tell you about her as well. My aunt is very clairaudient, and she is coming into her gifts now as well. And we do a lot of talking, and we will basically, do readings on each other and practice. And I'm getting her up to speed and code, and she'll be doing some readings herself soon. She doesn't want me to say
that's awesome.
I can only hope to be as good as Marcus one day.
Well, if it's in your family, I don't doubt that will be the case, because it seems that you all are so loving and supportive of each other, and that's a good foundation for any kind of work that people do with people. So,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on to comment. If you want to come back on at any other later point, just let us know, and we'll check back in.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is, when you talk about helping people, I would like for you to share a story here. I guess it was a little over a year ago, one of my friends, Hanifa, she knows that I've been interested in this realm of stuff for many years now, and she told me that she had a friend that needed to speak to somebody because something had happened in her life, and she really was seeking to find some sense of closure, comfort, or answers about what had happened. And so I didn't know much about, she described for me what happened, but I immediately knew I needed to connect her with you, Marcus. And when I called you, I didn't give you any information about what it was, just that there was a young lady who wanted to talk with you for a session. And so if you would share, you and I both have cleared that this is okay to talk about this story on the air with people already, but if you would share that, it's very powerful.
Oh, thank you. It was very, very deep. That was the reading I mentioned earlier that was one of the most powerful readings I ever had. That's the reading I left the house and I felt so drained and sleepy, and I actually went home, laid on the couch, and I don't think I got up to the next day sometime, But it was through you I was contacted, and all I knew was that I was going to talk to someone named Ebony, and she and I become really good friends now. I'm friends with her family, her son, her mom, and it was really cool that we met. But yes, also when I'm meeting someone and I'm getting to do a reading with them, I don't want to know anything. Because I think if you feed me too much information, then there won't be much for me to connect and bring through, So I always tend to tell, them, I just want the number or the address or where I'm going, and I'll go there myself, and we can talk. Because I think in person is better, since I'm in the metro Atlanta area. but most of my readings are over the phone because a lot of people don't live in Atlanta. So I got her name, her number. I talked to her once, and I got her address, and so I told her I'll be there. I think I went there. It was like a Sunday after church or something like that, and that was about 2 years ago. And so I literally pull up in the driveway, and I feel the presence of this tall, like in shape guy who kind of like gave me this attitude of, yeah, this is my house. And I saw this in my mind. I didn't understand it at first. I was like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on here. But I said, well, let me go in and you know, just get started. And when I got there, she opened the door, and her dog came outside. And I'm really, really good with babies and pets. Like babies just love me. I'm like the kid whisperer or something, you know, and dogs. And so normally her dog would be mean to people that walk up to the house, but the dog ran right up to me, and I was like, oh, your dog got outside. And she was like, wow. And so I met her son at the front door, and we went down the hallway and all the way to the back of the house. And I kept feeling this guy talking to me as if he was there. And I couldn't physically see him, but I could definitely feel him. So as we sat down, and I picked the chair I wanted to sit in, and I said one of the first things she did, and she recorded this, and I told her I didn't mind, you know, recording it. And one of the first things I said was, I was like, did someone pass away recently, tall, dark-skinned guy, kind of in shape, and he's really proud of his body and how he looks and all this stuff? And she said, yeah. And you could kind of feel the energy in the room kind of shift. And I said, was that your husband? And she said, yes, that was my husband. And the energy shifted. It's almost like the air in the room got really thick and started pushing us down to the floor. And I said, okay, this is going to get kind of deep. And I said, where's the shrine? You got his picture and flowers and stuff set up like really close to here. And it happened to be in the next room, but I couldn't see it from where I was sitting. And so she said, oh, right there. She said, well, stand up and come over here and look. And I saw it in like the living room where the fireplace was. It was near the fireplace. And I said, oh, so that's him. That's the guy that met me at the front door. And so I sat back down and I said, well, and one of my things, I'll get a lot of images when I'm connecting to someone from the other side. So I kept seeing sharp metal. And sharp metal can mean a car accident to me. It could mean a knife or something piercing the body, you know, to hurt someone. And so I said, your husband passed from sharp metal, and it was just like a river just got released. And I mean, it was so deep. I mean, it's hard because you have to be a referee. In my mind, that's the way I see it. I have to bring the message. I don't want to cry and get choked up because I feel like if I do that, I might miss out on something. So as you know, as she broke down and the son's head went down, and I was like, oh no. And so I said it was sharp metal, and she told me then that, you know, her husband was stabbed in the back, and it was because of the stab in the back that he ended up dying. And what made it really deep, because it's like a big family situation. You know, it was her own brother who did it, so that turned into a big split in the family. Whose side you going to be on? You know, and it was just crazy. But the reading started from that, and it got much deeper. I'm not going to tell the whole thing, but it was just really, 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 really deep and amazing. And I was just so surprised by everything. And she even said herself, she was like, you're taking on his personality. She's like, you're holding your head and you're kind of like mannerism, acting just like he did, you know. And I was like, well, I can feel him. And I was like, he's kind of like standing right beside me, and he's kind of like telling me what to say. And all the stuff I was saying was stuff I had no clue about. I wasn't supposed to know any of that. And the things, but I just felt like that was the first time I connected with someone who had passed, and this dude followed me home. You know? And that's rule number one. You gotta stay here, dude. Like, no, you're not following me home. That's a no. Stay. Well, excuse my mouth, stay your ass here. Like, no, you can't go with me, But this dude followed me home when I was taking sleeps and waking up. He was sitting there like, okay, you still want to talk some more? And I'm like, no, like, we're done. Like, no. And I called her like a couple of days later, and I was like, well, your husband has a couple more things to say to you. And I told her what he said. And she was like, oh, my God. She was like, she's like, I'm just so blown away. And she's actually referred a couple of clients to me, too. She's got some really good and really cool friends, Nikki and some other ladies I met that are really nice. And it was just one of those readings. It was so powerful, I had to write about it in the second book. And I got to tell the full story, but it's amazing. That shocked me.
Well, when Hanifa told me the story, and it had been in the news because it really was a tragic circumstance, because not only was it family, this was also her son's graduation party, if I'm remembering the details correct. So for him as a young man, that was such an impacting experience, and for you to then be able to come into that family then as the trial ensued and all of the things that were going on, I'm sure that's why he followed you home, because that was an extraordinary circumstance that they were going to be going through as a family, that they had to figure out what it meant for them. Truly everything in their reality had changed in the blink of an eye. And so to have you standing in the gap and knowing, for me, knowing your character and belief system, I instantly knew when I heard the details, I was like, well, I need to send you, to talk with them, because that I wouldn't even begin to know how to. Of course, you don't know all the details when you're going into it, but the immense amount of pain and questioning that has to be occurring in that kind of situation, and to be able to not spend 30 years now agonizing over the answers and stuff, to know that they're real time receiving support and comfort from their loved one while they're trying to make sense of all this. That's so powerful and such a blessing. So I'm really excited to read more about it, because you've shared with me some, but having the audio recordings of readings is really so wonderful. I tell people all the time, if you are going in to get a psychic reading from someone, either in person or over the phone, absolutely record it. And most psychics, if you tell them, I'd like to record this session, they're not going to have a problem with it. And some of them will record it for you and then send you a copy of it afterwards, but mostly it's on you. And I'll tell you, you're not going to be able to write fast enough to keep up with all the things that are going on, because your mind is going to be, puzzle pieces are going to be dropping into place, and there are things that will make sense in the fullness of time that may not resonate as truthful in that moment. So I've gone back and listened over and over again to readings like a 6 months and a year, like, oh, wow, snap, that really did happen. You know what I'm saying? So,
you used to have some really good barbecues. You need to have some of those again.
I know, I did. And everybody would come and they didn't want the barbecue, they wanted to talk to you.
Oh, yeah, that did turn to work a little bit. But, I enjoyed those, yeah.
Well, one thing that I tell people is that, to me a psychic reading is like, you take what you need and you leave the rest. Just like with any other situation where you're receiving advice or guidance from anyone, be it a pastor, be it a career counselor, a life coach, you always honor your own acceptance of something. And so I encourage people to at least try to go out and have a reading from somebody. I promise you, I can pretty much say with 99% certainty that you are not going to be possessed by the devil just because you have a psychic reading from someone.
Yeah, you have to have an open mind. Yeah, you have to.
And so when people, I know one of the things you talk about is before you do a reading, you're clearing your energy, you are setting your intention, you are connecting with God, Source, love, and are in high love vibration that before you even begin to open yourself up to receive messages for someone. And I would say that the person receiving the reading, you do the same thing for yourself. Before you sit down to anyone, set your intention. If you state with your intention that I am protected, I will only receive that which is for my best and highest good, and that is given from unconditional love, and all else will not have any impact to me, and so be it. You have authority over your receiving by doing that, and then you can engage in listening to the information given to you. And nobody's telling you to go jump off a cliff because you heard something, but, listen, feel your knowing. And if you have friends who are into it, like my friends and I, we always share readings with each other afterwards. Like, did you hear this, girl? Yes, I heard this. Oh, my gosh, they had the greatest reading. Or, you know what, this reading didn't really resonate to me. And then sometimes my best friends will be like, yes, it did. Because, sometimes we have a blind spot to ourselves. They'll call you on it and say, hey, girl, you might need to listen to that again because he was talking about such and such, But I don't want people to have a fearful mind about encountering this stuff. Are you able to really sense then a reluctant reading with someone?
Oh, yeah. I mean, often. Not all the time, but I say often because by the time someone gets to the point where they're decided that they want to call you, then they usually made up their mind that they at least want to get the experience. And like I said, as me myself, I was a skeptic. People have a hard time believing that, but I say it all the time. I was one of the biggest skeptics, and I didn't believe in none of this. And I had readings that just basically weren't anything but horrible to me. Some of them were really bad. And I don't like talking down on other people and stuff. I think everyone has a gift, and maybe it just wasn't for me, But and there's some people out there that's all about the money and the dollars and stuff like that, So I had to find my way. And once I found someone I was comfortable to go to, one of the best mediums, and I think I'm a pretty good medium, but in my eyes, one of the best mediums is actually in Michigan. And I met her through my Aunt Wanderer, who we spoke to a minute ago. Her name's Liz. And we were introduced through my aunt, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go to her, and I'm going to pay for a reading. I'm going to try it out. And she was like, no. She was like, I don't want your money. And she was like, I'll give you a reading. You give me a reading. And she literally blew me away. And when I gave her a reading, there were two people she wanted to connect with, and she said everyone she had went to couldn't connect with those two particular people until she talked to me. And it was just I was what she needed. She was what I needed, and we actually surprised and shocked each other. And I mean, she's phenomenal, and she's like Teresa Caputo, or in my opinion, better. She, she's just it's somebody out there that's going to be on point. There's someone out there that's going to surprise you, that's going to amaze you. And, I love getting my flowers while I'm still here, And when someone says, oh, my God, you were right about this and this, that, and the other, I appreciate it. And, I'd say thank God because it's not me,
Well, I think it's interesting because as different as the hairs on our head or our fingerprints, every person is very unique. So, I've encountered people who write and receive channeled information that way. I've connected with people like you that are mediums, that are clairvoyant, that will see. I've even met a person who connects with an extraterrestrial energy and brings messages from that realm. And you've been on a couple of shows with other people like Paula, who is a shamanistic healer. And, I mean, the other day we were talking about astral projection and lucid dreams, and she began having a reading with you on the air, and she went into your past lives, and according to what she saw, you have many, many lifetimes and were a Tibetan monk at one point in your incarnations, and that's one reason why you're able to do some of the things that you're able to do now more easily, because of that lineage or that past energy working in this exact kind of meditative place of going up to the higher realms and coming back down with needed information. And that was just fascinating to me to listen to the two of you kind of just having a conversation when all of a sudden this layer of information came forth. And I think it tickled you too.
Yeah, Paula really shocked me, and it's funny because everything she said made a lot of sense to me. I've always been fascinated with Tibetan monks, and I've seen the monks that came here on a tour one time, and I just felt like so a part of them, and I love meditating, and I love nature and animals and stuff, and I've always wanted to, I even growing up I did martial arts and stuff, and I was really into the animal styles of Kung Fu, and I was just like, which comes from the monks, and I'm like, wow, this is so weird that she said that, but it was so on point. It resonated really.
Well, that's the thing about it. When you receive the information from a reader, you're going to know there's a physical response in your body that it doesn't make logical sense. Most of the stuff does not make logical sense in the framework that most of us use until we kind of enlarge our frameworks, if you will. But when those little chimes of truth, gongs, hit you, you can't unfeel that. And even if you try to deny it, eventually there will be another breadcrumb in the trail to where eventually you just will not be able to avoid the truth, because if Spirit is bringing the truth for you, it's going to be revealed to you in one way or another in time. They would not have revealed it to you had we not been ready to actually embark on the journey to receiving it. We don't get more than we can bear. You know what I'm saying?
And thank God. Right.
Well, Marcus, you have agreed that you will be taking on-air readings for this show this evening, and so I do want to get everyone prepared for that. We've got quite a few callers here that have been listening patiently, and if you do want to ask a question for your on-air reading, you can press the 1 key, and we'll work you on in order. And as we proceed now, I wanted to let you know that when you receive a reading, you are receiving it in terms of in front of an audience. So if there is something that Marcus feels is not necessary public talk, then he will convey that to you, and you can arrange to connect with him for a private reading later, because we certainly don't want to put all your business on the air. And we do appreciate you being willing to receive a reading from in front of our audience this evening. It'll be a one-question reading, and we'll take, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Did you have any other guidance for the callers that are listening in that will be asking questions?
Only one thing. I tune in to people through their names. So if you don't want to say your name, or you're that private and don't want to talk about it, then it's probably best that we do a private reading, because people are around, people are listening. I've never done really good in group readings because people always want to pull me to the side and they don't want to discuss their things in front of other folks. But to me, it's like I'm not going to say anything crazy. I'm not going to say anything outlandish or weird or just out there. But I'm real easy breezy. Just give me your name and give me your question. I might ask a couple of things to make sure I'm tuning into you, and then we go from there. It's really easy.
Okay. Before we get started, I do see from our screening that your Aunt Tracy has an additional comment to make. Tracy, You're back on the line.
Hi, Marky again.
Hey.
Hey, so I just wanted to say because the household's jealous, I'm listening to you on my cell phone with my earplugs in, and everybody, well, Denzel and Fred wanted to say congratulations and proud of you, and hello.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. You make sure you tell Zell and you make sure you tell Fred that I said what's up or what up though, and I love all of you guys, and I appreciate you listening.
And we love you more, so we're here still listening.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much. This is just wonderful. I haven't stopped smiling since the start of the show, so I'm going to need to relax.
I think my cheeks are hurting.
When I finish. So our first caller that we're going to pull on the air here, I'm getting ready to look through my screening, is we have Keith. Is this, wait, I'm waiting for the line to connect. Keith, are you on the line with us this evening?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Keith. Welcome to the show. You're on with Marcus. I'll let the two of you go ahead and start to talk.
Hey, Marcus. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Keith?
Hanging in there.
Okay. All right. Well, oh, man, I'm getting stuff about you already. Wow. Okay, so let me say this first, make sure I'm tuning into the right person. Are you, like, extremely busy all the time?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like you have so much energy, so much stuff going on. You're the fixer of the friends and family. You're the one who takes care of business. You're the one who's always doing stuff, and a lot of people depend on you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm ready for your question.
It's I don't know. Question was my mother passed.
Okay. Recently.
Yeah.
When I say recent, I'm saying within the last like 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Okay.
So
give me your mom's first name or the name
Diane.
she went by. Diane.
Diane. Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Okay. Let me see. It's like remember that charge of electric energy I talked about earlier? It's like my neck is ringing and my back of my arms are tingling and I keep seeing something with the eyes. I'm supposed to talk about the eyes when it comes to your mom. Is something significant about her eyes?
Eyes. No. Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to bring up the eyes for some reason. Okay. Let me see. Okay. There's a question. It's something you want to ask about your mom. Is it about her passing, or something that's I don't? Is it like one of those things where you rather talk about it in private?
Well, I was there when she was coming out of the surgery.
Okay.
And time period from when I left the hospital, they were supposed to do like a sponge down or something. They still had the tubes in her mouth, and I was like, Ma, you want them to sponge you down? And she shook her head, yes, which I thought she said yes, So I was like, well, okay. I said, well, I just got off work, Mom. Run home, get a shower, and I'll come back. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So for me going downstairs in the car, I went about 1 block. I get a call saying that her chest or something collapsed, and then they wanted permission to work on her. So I doubled back, spun the car around. About the time I got upstairs, I met my sister on the road as I was coming back to the hospital. I hit the horn and yelled at my sister at the hospital, and I just sped off and went directly to the hospital, which she spun the truck around and followed. About the time I got back upstairs, they said she had passed.
Okay.
So
now
it's
this is bringing me back to talk about her eyes. So when you were getting ready to leave, you said she still had tubes in her mouth, so she couldn't really speak, right?
yes. Yeah, she was looking at me in the eyes. Is that what you're referring?
It feels like that's what I'm getting, because I feel like I'm trying to communicate, but I can't. And so I'm trying to tell you something with my eyes, but you're not getting it. It's something with the eyes. It's like, look at me, I'm trying to say something to you. Now, I'm not telling you that because I want you to feel bad or like you missed something or things could have been different. That was your mom's time to transition, and she's really, really great now. I feel like she's totally different. You have this problem of seeing her in her weakened state, and you don't see her as healthy and how she was. And so a lot of this, I would say you're your worst enemy. You beat yourself up about this. And
yeah, I broke my hand.
You broke your hand. Okay, you're fighting yourself, and that's not the way to fix that. Your mom is kind of saying that that's not how you're going to make that better. You got a lot of people that you're responsible for, and hurting yourself is not going to be the way to do that. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm glad I got to at least express that to you. It's one of those things where, you know, when you're heated and when you're upset and when you're mad at the world, you tend to take it out on the folks around you, and the folks around you didn't sign up for that. They love you still, you know, rather you fuss and cuss or, you know, get outside of yourself. You know, it's basically one of those things where your mom is telling you, and she's very dominant. She when she talks, she expects you to listen. And that's the personality I'm feeling. That's the way she is. So she's telling you to cut that out. And I mean, that wasn't like really recently. That was probably within the last year or so. But every now and then you'll get that feeling of frustration and you're beating yourself up. But she wants you to stop, take a breath, and realize that there's still a blessing. You still got people looking up to you, and your mom is still around.
Okay.
Okay.
Keith, thank you so much for calling in, and we'll have Marcus's contact information out for future reference for any of our callers this evening. Thank you for sharing that story. It's a very intense moment when we talk about the transition of our parents, and I appreciate you coming on the air with that this evening, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. We have caller Stacy is on the line. I'm looking for her in the queue. You've got so many callers here. We've got quite a few people who decided they wanted to have readings when it got to that point. Oh, it looks like...
Let me pour another beverage.
Here we go. Caller Stacy, you're on the line with Marcus. How are you?
Hey, Marcus.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay.
Uh-oh.
You know, I'm calling in. I'm calling in to ask you, what's going on or what's my next direction with my relationship.
Oh, boy. Well, I don't know if
it's an offline question.
No. Some of it is because I have to explain something, Joelle, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, in the last probably 6 months to a year or so, a lot of times when I do readings with people, sometimes when people speak about relationships or love and stuff like that, I tend to see things that can be kind of sexual. And so I'm not going to bring that up online or on the air. That's private talk, And I really feel like with Stacy, that conversation is going to go there real quick. So I'm going to keep this G-rated, and I'm going to make it short until we talk in a private time. So, one, I need to say this. You're contemplating moving, and this is something out of state, I think, and the answer is no. You need to be right where you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, but I think you kind of knew that. You just didn't want that confirmation.
I know.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's good. At least you know you're not fighting it. You're aware that basically that's not the move to make, and I think the person you're contemplating doing this for is not going to work. Not going to work. And I think if you take your time and just be a little more patient, and I know patient is the word you don't want to hear, but I think give it some more time, the right person will come along.
Okay.
I love you. I didn't want to give you no bad news.
Stacy, thank you so much for your question this evening. Oh.
That was a feel good reading. I like that. Yeah, we're definitely gonna talk again.
I'm sure that's not too juicy. We might have to have a Psychic Inside After Dark show.
Well, that one right there gonna be extra X-rated.
Oh, Lord.
I don't think we can have that one.
Well, our next caller that is holding for a reading is Avis. And so, Avis, welcome to the Psychic Inside. You're on the line with Marcus. How are you?
Hey, Joelle and Marcus. Thanks for taking my call. How are you?
Oh, a big hug to you. I'm wonderful. I'm so glad you could join us this evening.
Yeah, grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk to you all. Hi, Marcus.
Okay. How are you, Ava? I'm glad to talk to you, too.
I'm good. I think go ahead.
I was just saying, here it comes.
I think I'm just caught in a space where I really don't, really not having focus as to and understanding of what it is, what direction I'm supposed to be going in life, to be honest with you. So I'm a medical social worker, and then I also serve as a pastor. And so I just feel like sometimes that I'm in limbo.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask you before you said that, like, do you have, like, more than one hat on when it comes to work and things you're doing? You're being pulled in different directions, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, Avis, let me ask. What's the thing you think about as soon as you wake up first thing in the morning? It's not work. I know that for sure.
Yeah, the first thing is probably one of my gifts. I do a prayer call every morning, so I'm always preparing myself.
And you look forward to that, right?
Some days I don't, because it's where I have a gift, you know, and sometimes I'm probably exhausted from other things that I've done. But it's like there's people that are depending on me for that. And so I know that truly it's a connection that I do have with God. So that many days I am looking forward to it, but I do understand, you know, sometimes I can't just let it drop.
Okay, can I ask a question? So there's another woman that you spend time with or socialize with, and I feel like she's the negative energy around you. And you wouldn't know this if you normally met this person, because she's very nice. She smiles in your face, and I feel like, I don't want to say this, but I feel like she takes advantage of you.
Takes advantage of me, okay.
Yeah, it's somebody that you normally see, and you don't pay that much attention to her in that aspect, but she's very negative. Although she acts totally different around you. She has a lot of stuff to say about you behind your back. And I don't know why I keep seeing. I was literally seeing the words in my head. Take advantage of. She takes advantage of you. Or it's like she uses you and your name, and I don't know who this is. Well, let me see. I'm gonna describe what I'm seeing, and you just tell me if that matches up to someone you know. Okay.
Okay.
She's not very tall, probably about 5'7", 5'8". She has big round cheeks. She's like a honey brown complexion. Something about hair. I don't know if this is. I'm not big on hairstyles. I don't know if this is a weave, a wig, or something. But it's big and curly, and it covers up most of her face. Does that sound like somebody I'm describing that you know?
Yeah, I have a lot of that going on at my job.
Oh, okay.
It's really a negative feel there.
Got you. Okay. Well, this person in particular, I want you to kind of pay attention to, especially in the future, because I feel like she's really not your friend. She's the person that, got something totally different to say about you when you're not in the room.
Okay.
Yeah. So just pay attention to your surroundings, especially at work.
Okay.
Yeah. I think when it comes to deciding on what you're going to do with yourself, you have there's someone you're going to meet that's going to be like a mentor to take you in the right direction. But I feel like you haven't met that person yet. It's somebody you're going to look up to and respect that's going to put you on the right path. But you need to be doing something that you enjoy, something that you love. I want the job to be as exciting, as and a good reason for you to get up and prepare yourself for the day and stuff, because there's something changing coming when it comes to work. And I don't know if it's starting your own business or something, but I want you to pay attention to the end of August, early September.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. I'll be looking to probably get in touch with you in the future. So thank you so much, Marcus and Joel.
No problem.
Appreciate y'all.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in.
You're welcome.
Well, Marcus, this is so interesting. I'm just feeling the energy, and I'm so appreciative of everyone willing to open their lives on the air and for you to be able to interact with them in this way. This is quite wonderful. So I really appreciate this opportunity to have you on this evening.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing this. This is really exciting. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. It's almost like I got a pizza and a drink in front of me, but I'm really thirsty and hungry, so I'm enjoying it just as much.
Well, I follow your Instagram feed, and you eat a lot of delicious food, so
yeah,
I can't even lie.
I should be 500 pounds the way I eat. You're right.
Sometimes I look at your feet, I'm like, dang it, Marcus, now I got to go have some fried fish.
Right. Or barbecue crab legs or shrimp and grits or banana pudding.
Stop it.
Okay,
We'll have all our listeners exiting to go order food. So our next caller this evening with a question is Katie in New York. Welcome to the show, Katie.
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, you have a question for Marcus.
Yes, I do, please. I was wondering, I'm finishing up a project, and I'm wondering if you see me that I'll be able to finish it up on my own, or will I need a little bit more assistance?
Okay, that feels like and hi, Katie, by the way. I feel like that question isn't enough of a question, like you're leaving something out. I feel like there's a big chunk of that question missing.
Okay. I know that, if I do need a little help, I believe a friend of mine who just helped me, whose name is John, I feel like he probably could help me a little bit more, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll surprise myself and I'll be able to finish it myself.
Oh,
is
okay.
That
now,
more concrete?
when you said John, the first thing I saw in my head was big, huge letters, N-O. No.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's something you probably knew or felt. It was just the confirmation you wanted. So as far as finishing this project, you cannot involve John to finish it. Okay?
Okay. Oh, thank you for that.
This is something that you have to do yourself, and it's going to be so much more rewarding. And I feel like this is a piece to a puzzle. You're doing this because you're trying to accomplish something else that's on a way much bigger scale, correct?
Yes, indeed. Oh, wow.
Okay. I feel like that's a big chunk, a big important part of it. You need to do that yourself because what's going to come after that is really going to test you, but that test is going to make you a lot stronger for what you're coming into. There's a really, really big change in, I don't know if it's lifestyle or finances, but all of that is coming down a pipeline, and you need to prepare yourself for that.
Wow.
And who's the only child? Are you the only child?
Oh my goodness.
That's you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is definitely for you. You have to get yourself together, get yourself prepared, because there's a lot of great things coming up in you for your life. I'm really excited about it.
Wow. Oh, that's just amazing. My goodness, you blow me away.
I'm blowing myself away. So thank you.
Me too.
I'm appreciated.
The gentle breeze.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
I'm really excited. Thank you. God bless you. I'm excited. Give me a call back or follow me on Facebook or something. Let me know how it goes because I think this is going to be really exciting. I love getting feedback and getting great news. So keep me posted, please.
Thank you. May I ask your website or your Facebook, please, or is it on the page?
Really easy. Clairvoyant Marcus Howell on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
It's Marcus, Marcus, traditional spelling, and Howell, just like Gilligan's Island, Thurston Howell III.
I love that.
Clairvoyant Marcus Howell on Facebook, or if you type in Marvell72 on any social media, you'll find me.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming
brilliant. Thank you. Thank you both.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to place you back in the listening line. Thank you so much for calling this evening. So New York seems to really be coming in and representing. That's two callers, I think, from New York, a ton of people from Detroit. And now I'm going to bring on Chastity from Atlanta. I'm waiting for her line to connect up here. Chastity, hello. Can you hear us?
I can. Good evening.
Good evening.
Excellent.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. This has turned out to be really fun. Don't you agree?
I do. So, I mean, I'm kind of new to it. I was referred to a friend. So I just was calling in for, like, a reading.
Okay. What's the question you want to ask about? Uh-oh. I said uh-oh already, so I'll let you say it, but go ahead.
Well, what came across your mind?
Okay. I shoot from the hip, so if I get on the subject you don't want me to talk about, just tell me and I'll switch it up. So when you talked about asking a question, I immediately saw a guy in my head. He was about 6 feet. He was dark-skinned. He had a very low temp fade, I guess is what you call it. And he was in uniform. I don't know if it's military, police, something like that, but I saw this guy being, I don't know if it's something you were going to bring up or somebody connected to you. So that's why I said, uh-oh. And go ahead.
And that doesn't really ring a bell.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really have a question. I mean, like career, I guess I was just, I mean, I'm kind of at a pivotal point in my life, and I'm just trying to see, am I going in the right direction? How are things looking for me right now? Just things like that. I don't know if I'm supposed to ask specific.
Give me the first letter of your last name.
M.
M. Okay. Okay. Do you scribble and write things down a lot?
I just started doing.
Take a lot of notes.
I started doing that recently.
Okay. I'm just making sure I'm trying to tune more into you and make sure I'm going the right direction.
Okay.
I feel like with you, you're all over the place. It's almost like you come up with a calendar of stuff to do for yourself almost every day on the time by time, minute by minute kind of like phase, and you're doing a lot. But don't take this the wrong way, but it's like you feel like you don't have direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there are other people in your corner. I feel like you're surrounded by a lot of energy from the other side. So you have a lot of loved ones that's passed, and they're looking out. They're surrounding you. They're almost protecting you. Because I feel like, okay, here I am saying stuff. I'm saying this as I get it. I feel like you're gifted, and you don't know it.
Yeah.
Is that right? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically what I want you to do is to give yourself some time to develop. And what I mean by that is to slow down. You're very busy. You're doing a lot. You're not giving yourself rest. You're cutting back on doing things for yourself and looking out for you. And what I want you to do is kind of learn what you're getting into, because that gift is about to open up. And I mean, it's going to be nuclear if you keep trying to bottle it up.
Mhm.
So I want you to learn how to ground and protect yourself, and take your time as far as things you're about to get into, because things are about to really, really switch up and change for you. So, just take your time. There's nothing wrong. Everything is fine. You're doing good. Don't stress yourself and beat yourself up with things coming up in the future. You got to make some more concrete decisions, because I feel like there's a lot in front of you, and you're just not sure which direction to walk in. Does that make sense?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want you to take your time and enjoy the moment, because you don't want to rush.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm seeing the age, but I don't want to talk about ages. To ever bring up a woman's age, especially on the air. But you're at the age where things are starting to shift and change, so just pay attention to the things coming up in the future, and you'll be fine.
Okay. Cool.
I got a giggle out of you. I think I did okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chastity. Thank you for coming on the air.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Now, I have a caller here. I don't know if they have a question. I believe that they're just dialing in because they're a fan and supporter of you. Hello, is this Nikki?
Okay.
Hey, this is Nikki. Hi, Marcus.
What's up, Nikki?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear from you. I met Marcus through my friend Ebony. And those that are listening, I want everybody to know that Marcus, I read his book, and he inspired me, and I just wrote my first book as well. And so just thankful to Marcus. Really good dude. He helped me, when my mom passed away, and I just appreciate him. So I wanted to tell him hey, and I'll probably give him a call and, see what my mama's up to on the other side.
I got to tell you, Joelle, about Nikki. Nikki is, so super cool, but she was one of those people that asked me about a reading, and the first thing she said was, "Do you believe in God?" And I was like, yes. And we had a nice conversation, but I'm going to tell you something about Nikki. Okay, I'm going to blow your head up a little bit. Not too much, but I'm going to blow your head up.
Okay, so, not too much.
Not too much, yeah. We want you to walk out the door, not too much. I sat down with Nikki the first time we did a reading, and I was nervous as all get out because, you know, we literally met and I walked in and it was like, okay, start your reading. And one of the things she talked about, because she's very religious and she's very spiritual, and Nikki has a gift of praying like my grandmother. Like, she can pray and, I mean, make the walls fall down. She's phenomenal. And she did a prayer before we started the reading, and that was one of the best readings. And it was just, it flowed, it felt good, it was very nurturing. It was like little to no tears. It was all good vibes and good feelings, and it was just great.
Absolutely.
It was wonderful. So it's like if I'm doing a reading with Nikki, I'm like, okay, you know you're going to be praying again because I need to hear that like that. Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you called. I told Ebony I was going to be doing this today, and I said, make sure you tell everybody. So I'm glad you did call and get through.
Oh yeah, I've been listening. I missed a bit of the first part because I was watching. They had this special on the Lakers and the Lakers and the Celtics and their rivalry. I mean, it was really a history lesson. Then I was like, oh my God, I got to turn back. I totally turned that off, and I'm like, I got to listen to Marcus. But I can't wait for your next book to come out and to support you.
Very soon. Very soon.
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Nikki, thank you so much for joining. And you can never fear because our rebroadcast, it will be available about a half hour after the show is over on the Blog Talk channel, which is the link that is sent out, and all of the marketing that is out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And in about a week, it'll be up on YouTube, and we'll also be sharing that. And I'm sure, Marcus, you'll share that on your page, the link as well, when that gets published. So we can always keep you up to date on what is happening. So you never have to miss a moment. I find myself listening back to these episodes over and over again because I'm fascinated by the stories, So I have another upstate person representing this evening. I have Kimberly from New Jersey. How are you?
I'm good. I just have two things that's bothering me. One, I feel like my career is stalling, and two, I feel like my love life, I just keep picking up all of this unnecessary stuff, and it's frustrating me.
Oh, boy. Okay, can we start with the relationship stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so when I mentioned a while ago about the 6-foot soul guy with the dark skin and the Caesar fade or tip fade or whatever, was that for you?
I'm not sure.
This person looks very military, clean cut, some type of uniform. It's like a brown or taupe color. I don't know if that's work or something that he has to wear. I keep seeing this for somebody. I don't know if this is for somebody on the line.
It's burgundy.
Burgundy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, give me that person's first name.
His name is Doran. That's my ex.
Doran. Got it. Oh, I almost cussed just then. Okay. I think he's an ex for a reason, and you should never go down that road again. Does that make sense?
Yes, because I just got the final restraining order today.
Got it. Okay. This is something that I feel like if you continue to be, this nice lady and keep entertaining it, it's not going to end well. He's not, I don't know if it's genetics, like through the family. It's some kind of
it's genetic family.
Okay.
It is.
Family thing.
It's a family thing, and I've stopped it, and I've learned that this is what the stuff that they was doing. I can't tolerate it. That's why I got the final restraining order.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. So never go down that road again. Don't look back. And they're going to try. They're going to make themselves known in the future, and they're going to try. But just stick your guns and don't look at a different direction. I think you're going to meet the person that you're going to end up falling in love with. And he's not far away. I feel like you don't know him yet, but you're going to meet him within the next 5 or 6 months. And he's not in your neighborhood. He's like across the water, or he's like a good 20, 25-minute drive away. And I think it's a mutual get-together or something where you guys cross paths. for the first time. So write that down and just remember it. And like I said, you can always send me a message and let me know how that works out. But the love situation is just, it's on hiatus right now. Take your time and don't rush into nothing. And I feel like you get a lot of attention when you go places, no matter how you dress or how you carry yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pay attention to the folks that get in your face and try to be your friend that really don't mean well for you, okay?
Okay, I've cut a lot of people off, so.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes you need to do that, and that's not a bad thing, so don't think of it as a bad thing. The core people that's meant to be there will still be there, and you'll be okay. Now, as far as work goes, I feel like you are all over the place. You don't know what you want to do. Does
You're
that
correct.
make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
Okay. So there is a process of elimination you need to do. Figure out what you love to do, not what you like to do. Figure out what you love to do. Even if it's not the particular job that makes the most money, find a way to make that work for you.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I love to do, every time I try to go that avenue and the job that I want, it just seems like when I put my effort into it, it's like I keep getting stuff that I'm overqualified for, and it's like frustrating me, and it just feels like I'm hitting a brick wall, and I'm getting a little agitated.
You know why? I think the reason why is because you need to be doing things for yourself. I would say get with someone that's going to help you start your own business or work in that field where you're not overqualified because you're the boss. Get into something that's going to work for you, but this isn't going to happen overnight. I just saw September in my head, so I want you to really concentrate around September.
Okay, and just one more thing.
Okay, well, you can do a quick one, yeah.
Am I going to get my house at the end of the year? That's all I'm looking forward to.
No. And the reason why I said no is because I feel like the place that's going to be presented to you is going to look nice at first, but it's not the place you want to get. Your place is much better than that. And I kind of see something happening paperwork-wise around November, December. So maybe it'll be like the first of the year. It's going to be very cold when this happens. So it's going to be wintertime. But don't take the first option that comes to you.
Okay.
Because that is a money pit, and it's going to be horrible.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Kimberly, for calling in this
Thank
evening.
you so much. I'm going to hit you on Facebook.
Okay.
So, all right.
No problem.
Thank you. All right, we're getting down to the last half of the show. What I will have to do, we've got about 7 minutes left, but I do have 4 people in line for readings, so we will go ahead and make sure that everyone gets clear. So I've got on the line, we'll have Valerie, Andrea, Cole, and Monica, and that will be the end because we'll be over the studio time at that point. But let me see where Valerie went here. One moment, please.
Okay.
Okay, Valerie from California, you're on the air. How are you?
Great. How are
Great.
you? How are you, Marcus?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Very good. I would like to know about love for the summer and also work, if you're seeing that as well.
Okay, real quick, let's talk about love first. Love, are you, like, living in the gym and working out all the time?
I wish.
Oh.
No.
I feel like you need to go to the gym.
Okay.
There's a love connection there that you're going to miss out on if you don't. And it's not like you need it, but it's good for you. It's healthy. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that there's a physical exercise. I don't know if this is training, boot camp, aerobic, something. There's some type of class where you meet a guy. Well, wait a minute. Let me see. there's some type of physical event where you meet someone. I think that's going to be the place. And so if you're not doing that now, I suggest you get some friends and start going. And don't do it by yourself, because I feel like that you're not going to do it if you do it by yourself. It's just the way I get it. So
I don't really have anybody to go to the gym with, so that's. I was told that I was going to meet a real estate person.
Oh, really?
But yeah, maybe not.
Well, everybody gets different things now. You know,
right.
You never know who's going to hit the nail on the head and who's going to hit right beside it. So I'm seeing some type of physical activity when you meet someone. And it's more so later summer, like around August, when you come across this. Because I feel like I'm telling you one thing and you're going to do the opposite. Does that make sense?
Hopefully, no.
Right. That's what I'm praying for. So I think a lot of times I'll see something and I'll say it, and I kind of feel like that's not going to work or they're not going to do it. So I want you to look into, I don't know what this is. It's some type of physical activity. I don't know if it's something you do with a group and you meet this guy, or it's something that's going to happen where you're going to meet this person and they're going to kind of connect with you spiritually and everything in the first time. You know, I wish I could go more into it, but I'm kind of seeing that as something physical connected with you and this person, and it's soon within the next couple of months.
And can you describe the person?
I see a sandy or like a dark brown tint to the hair, very in shape. And I don't know if that's because of this physical event or whatever. It's something to do with physical. I don't know. Maybe they work in that field or something. There's something to do with physical and clean cut. I don't know. I hate to say this because I have a lot of friends in California, but California people are so into their looks, and that's just a thing that I've noticed with a lot of my friends there, and that's just one of those things. But I don't think I can explain it any further than that.
Oh, I was trying to see if he was tall, if he was short, is he well established, that type of thing.
I'm feeling kind of average. I will probably, if you can, reach out to me on social media, because I don't want to miss the other callers and cut off their time too. And we're running down on the last few minutes. But if you reach out to me on social media, and I could probably try to tune more into this person. I see average but nice looking, and I see something about like a sandy brown with the hair. So I think that might be the direction you're heading in. But it's something physical you need to get into really soon.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay.
We're going to need to keep moving to get the last few callers in, Valerie, but I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And I hope you meet your love match.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, now we've got Andrea on the line here, calling from Virginia. Andrea, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question. I recently tried out in January for a TV show, and I was just wondering if you still see this call coming sometime in June for the next round, or the door's still open.
Let me see here. Andrea.
I feel it's not closed yet.
No, it's not, but I get a really strong yes when I ask my intuition. So this is something that's definitely in the pipeline. This is something that, I see paperwork, I see things in motion, and I'm supposed to mention, is this something in New York?
Oh my God, you are amazing, because the last audition was in New York. The next one is in California, and I'll just drive by, and then a license plate will be from California or New York City. That's like right in front of my face, like this universe told me.
Okay, and I see New York, and it's funny because before I said New York, I was like saying to myself, am I supposed to say California? And I'm like, no, I saw New York first. So I said New York first, and it's something that's going to take you out of your comfort zone. However, I think you're more than prepared for this.
Yes.
give it a little more time and do
Okay.
a follow-up, I say within the next couple of weeks. But don't rush. Don't get on no one's nerves, and just let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually sign music and sign language, and I tried out for America's Got Talent. I'm happening to watch the show right now, so.
Oh, cool. That's funny because I grew up in a church, and my Sunday school teacher taught sign language, and I ended up learning some of it, not enough. Well, I guess learning the bad words doesn't count, but, you know.
No. No, my passion is music and doing it correctly and letting everybody enjoy it, deaf and hearing alike, so.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, good. Well, hopefully, congratulations very soon.
Yeah.
Like I said, give it a little more time. I get a really good vibe and a really good energy feel to that. So just be a little more patient and let it happen. Okay?
All right, I'll see you on TV.
All right, great. Awesome to talk to you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
We're winding down to our last two callers. I don't know if our people who are streaming are still able to hear this, but the people on the phone are, because we just hit our time mark. So I have Cole on the line calling in from D.C. Cole, how are you?
How you doing? I don't want to take up too much of your time. Marcus, I'm your new firm mate over at the Wing firm, so I just want to call in to support you. And
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Talk to you and meet you. Yeah. So, like you said, I won't take up your time. I'll try to reach you outside of faith. I know you all don't have a lot of time left there.
Well, you passing up you passing up opportunity, buddy. Okay. Well, we'll talk soon.
If you do have time, then okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, she said go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
She said, yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead. We're still rolling.
Okay, so, I mean, I'm open. So if I'm open, you can just tell me.
I feel like you want to talk about career, but you don't want to talk about it on the air.
No, career's fine. Career's
fine. I had
to
giggle on that. Sorry.
Well, that was just a feeling I got. Like there's something you're very, very comfortable, but you're not ready to transition and change to where you need to be. And there's some things coming up for you that I think you're kind of like anticipating to happen, but I think you need to make them happen for yourself. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay. Career is like one of those. You know how you go get something to eat and you can order chicken nuggets or you can order a steak. And
right.
The career subject is chicken nuggets. There's a steak conversation in there somewhere, and it doesn't have to do with career. I think that's probably something we'll talk about off air. I feel like you're transitioning, you're doing some things, and you're going places, but you want to get some clarity on some things, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, we'll talk soon and go there and dig into all of that stuff. But career-wise, I think you're fine. You're comfortable. You need to really take a look at the things coming up for you in the future because you're meant to do a lot of things and you're helping a lot of people. So I want you to take some of these time out and help yourself.
That's exactly on point.
Okay.
Right.
All right, cool.
Well, thank you, Cole. You've been holding a long time and listening to the show online. I appreciate your support of the show, and of course, we love the Weems firm. We're big fans of that, and I highly recommend that if you have any need for legal representation, especially any kind of negotiations and things, if you're in the entertainment industry, then the Weems firm is definitely your source to go. That's my dear friend our mutual friend Antavius, and he has a wonderful group of people who are working for him every day. So thank you so much, Cole, for calling in.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, Marcus, so our last caller of the evening, she's been holding a long time. This is Monica. You are the last reading this evening on the Psychic Inside Show with Marcus Howell. How are you?
So much. No, I was enjoying myself from the moment I called in all the family love and support.
Oh,
it
my
was
God.
just like really mad vibe, mad positive vibe. So your village is strong, brother. Very, very strong. Good thing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No problem. My question is, I don't know if to say it's direction or even what the question is. I have been going back and forth with employment as of late, and I kind of understand why I have. And though I'm looking for that financial route to come in, I know I'm kind of fighting against myself because I don't want to plug back into the machine.
Right.
So, and I'm also a writer, so I've been working on a series of books, and lately I've been trying to really put some really dedicated time behind getting things done, because I've been told a couple of times the revenue is going to come from the books. But you know how you get that frustration in between of understanding who you are,
absolutely,
what your purpose, and so that's where I'm kind of in that moment, like, okay, if I can just get a little nitpick of what the heck is going on, and am I rolling the right way, and just some relief.
Okay, I'm ready.
So whatever you
Okay.
can pick up, I'm cool.
Well, okay, Monica, let's. Can I call this tough love time?
Uh-huh.
Okay, think of me as a brother that really loves you. Okay. You are very stubborn, and you don't want to accept help. You want to do everything on your own. You don't want handouts and people to help you and do for you because you're very independent. Is that right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay to admit that. That's
a hard time adjusting with this I don't know, this place, or you know what I mean, this particular lesson I'm going through, because I'm like, my guys know I don't like that I was the one that's always the strength, and now to have to be in a place where even to ask is just so like, really no at times.
Oh, wow. Okay. I feel like there is a lot going on, but you're still in control because you're a little bossy, and you kind of know what you like and how you want things to go. So there are people in your corner that I feel like you're not letting within your circle. You know how you build up a guard around yourself, your heart, your personality, and there's a brick wall, there's a steel wall, there's a force field, there's all this stuff. You're very guarded, very protected. And I just want you to.
Through. I thought I was working that through.
No. You're still tough as bricks. You're still badass. So I want you to really work on that. Learn how to do some meditation and kind of relax. Relax your brain. Relax your surroundings. Open up some, because you got this girl. You know, like Monica will punch you in your face if you say something wrong to her. You got this vibe that I think you're giving off, this energy, and it's really not you. You know what I'm saying? You're very nice, open, sweet person, but your outside shows a little different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, open up a little more and let things happen naturally. And there are people that are on your side, that are on your team, that are going to help you. You just got to let them.
Okay. Okay.
Well, Monica, I thank you for your call. I am going to go ahead and wind things up now because we're off air time. But, of course, you know how to contact Marcus. And thank you for calling in, Monica, and being such a strong supporter of the show. I really appreciate you.
Well, it's been a blessing to me, so I truly appreciate you and everything that you're doing, and appreciate you, Marcus, also, and the energy that you bring to the situation. So, yeah, truly blessed on my side. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Brother.
I appreciate it. God bless you.
So, Marcus, this has been the Psychic Inside Show. I want to invite all of you to connect with us on our Facebook pages. You can look for me at The Viberarian, Viberarian, and also on Clairvoyant Marcus Howell on Facebook. And then you can find Marcus on at Marvell, Marvell 72 on Instagram and Twitter, and the Viberarian also on Instagram and Twitter. And you'll see that we have done some posts and shares in the last couple of days, so you can certainly find both of us through the same channel. Thank you so much, Marcus. This is always a treat to have you. Now, we do have on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock on this same number and same channel, the Viberarian Show. And on that, we get to talk about any and everything. We've been talking about astral projection, lucid dreaming. We're going to be talking about past lives and alien encounters. And, Marcus, you've been calling in to give your wisdom and expertise on this show, and it has been a wild ride. That show is only an hour. It's on from 9 to 10 on Thursday nights. And also, if you are in the Atlanta area, this Sunday, there is the Viberary Elevation Station, and the Elevation Stations are pop-up events where you can come and get lifted. We have vendors who are selling metaphysical and holistic products and services, as well as a variety of psychic readers who offer 20-minute readings. And you can also receive Reiki energy healing sessions from our resident Reiki practitioner, Lucy Lee. This all happens on Sunday from 12 to 6 at the Cupcakery in East Point, Georgia. The Cupcakery is Cupcakerie. You can also find them on Facebook and social media. It's directly across the street from the East Point Marduk station. You kind of angle off a little bit, and it's on the corner. Now, the cupcakes won't be available, so please don't come expecting to get a sweet treat, but you certainly can get something uplifting if you join us. Marcus, do you have any last words for our listening audience this evening? This has just been an awesome conversation.
It has been fantastic. I want to thank you again, Joelle. I think you're doing a phenomenal job, and I really appreciate you, and I want to say that this was probably the most fun I've had all year. and I'll definitely be at the Elevation Station this Sunday. I'm going to come by and speak and say, hi to everyone. And look forward to that. I think it's going to be great.
Awesome. And I want to thank your family, your Detroit coalition who has been supporting you this evening on the show. Shout out to your grandmother and your mom and your aunties and your friends in New York and all around the country who called in this evening to say hello. I appreciate you spending this time with us as well this evening. I hope that all of you have a most wonderful week and that you receive all of the blessings that you can possibly hold. And I hope that everything is positive for you. Reach out to Marcus if you have further questions. Connect with us online, and we will see you next Tuesday on the Psychic Inside Show. My special guest is Kelly Lynn Prime of Fitness for the Soul. And it's going to be an interesting discussion as we delve into her psychic life. So, again, Marcus, I thank you very much. And for all of you, wishing you absolute love. Namaste.